Mario Tennis Fever just dropped on February 12th, and this game has got to be the best Mario Tennis they have ever made. Camelot truly outdid themselves here. Mario sports games have somewhat of a weird reputation, and honestly, it has been earned to some extent. Something like a Mario Battle League on the Nintendo Switch. That game, it wasn't good. That Mario Strikers game, it was the return to the series that we had been begging for since the GameCube generation, but the GameCube games were so much better. Those stylized graphics that they really coined with that series is still there. Like, the animations are so fluid, everything looks really good. It's just the gameplay itself that is so lackluster. There's just not a lot to do with this game, and normally I would never say that about a multiplayer game, about there not being a lot to do, because most of the time, multiplayer games, you're just supposed to play it over and over and over again, and that's the fun. That's the fun with Mario Kart World for me, and Mario Tennis Fever now for me. And then we had a Mario Tennis on the actual Switch itself. We had Mario Tennis Aces. Loved that game. Put in over 50 to 60 hours. I thought it was around 100, but I think it was closer to 70, maybe somewhere around there. I put a ton of hours into that. I was a top 1,000 player at one point, and now here with Mario Tennis Fever, I intend to put just as many hours into this game as long as I have the time. But there's something different with this tennis game, and it is different than any of the other games I have ever played, and I can see it. People are resonating with Mario Tennis Fever, and today we need to talk about why that is, break down every single thing about this game, and eventually give you my review on whether or not it's worth buying. First of all, it is literally tennis, okay? If you are coming into this game expecting this to be something totally different than the rest of the series has produced, you're not going to be very excited with Mario Tennis Fever. If you go in with the expectation of this game not being a revolution, then you're going to be fine. This is going to be a really fun experience for you. First, let's talk about the main modes themselves, then I'll get into the gameplay, then we can talk a little bit more about how everything fits together. So first, we've got the adventure mode, the tournament mode, trial towers, free play, mix it up, swing mode. Then you have ranked match, online rooms, local play, game share. You have a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. I'll get to that in a minute. Achievements, setting, and how to play. All of these are on the main menu the second you get into this game, and this game loads fast. Here, I'll show you how fast. It takes about 5 solid seconds to get to the main menu. 5 seconds. It's insane. It's absurd. If you get to something like Animal Crossing New Horizons, you actually have to spend like half a minute waiting for the actual loading screen to then take you to the main menu, to give you another loading screen, to then go through the announcements, to then go to another loading screen to get out of your house. By that point, it's been like a minute and a half, and that's with the Switch 2 edition. On the actual Switch itself, it would take you 2 to 3 minutes. Camelot has always been great at getting you right into the action. The loading times are so small in all of these games, even back in Tennis Aces. Like, this is still a step up from that, but that was really fast as well. So when you first get this game and you download it and you're looking at this main menu, you're looking at all this stuff, it can honestly feel a little bit overwhelming. I myself know this series very well. I've been playing as long as I've been alive, and here I am with Fever looking at all these modes and wondering, where do I start? Well, I started online because that is technically where I am going to thrive the most. And not to brag or anything, but within the first day, I was top 500 in Mario Tennis Online in no Fever Rackets category, so I'll never reach this again because I've literally played since, and I'm like top 2,000 now, and I get killed every match that goes with any sort of S tier person, but we're not going to worry about that because I was top 500 at one point, so I'll get back, right? I'll get back. Yeah. So I don't really care about the online mode anyways. It's not that fun.
Maybe I will get back. All it takes is getting sick, huh? And just having no life and grinding away. But I got back.
But there is something totally addicting about this core gameplay, and that is honestly where I would recommend you start out, is in the online mode, going against other people, just getting used to the controls all on your own. I think that's the best way to learn, because right before you get into most modes, it will show you on the screen what each button does. All 4 of the face buttons you'll have will give you a different type of shot. Now, I don't remember the actual terms for all of these. I have a general idea, but I'm not gonna act like I do. So if you press the Y button, it's going to give you a purple shot. Those shots are mostly going to be used for some sort of straight shot because those tend to go exactly where you want them to go. The A button will hit you with a topspin shot, which is like a red shot. That is going to be your most powerful shot, depending on the character, of course, but most of the time, that's where all of your power is going to come from. Then you press the B button. It is a blue shot, and that shot will have you curve it around a little bit, depending on your character, like I said, but some will have you curve it way more than others. Some it won't curve hardly at all. It just truly does depend on the character you pick, but most of the time, this is going to be your defense button. button. If there's any sort of powerful attack coming your way of a Y button with a purple shot or an A button with the red shot, the blue shot is what you want to use to defend it, and use it to kind of stave off other people, because most people only think about attack and no one really thinks about defense or angles or which way you want to hit the ball back. So hitting that B button, hitting that blue button, that's going to get you back in the game faster than most other people would think. There is also a lob shot and a drop shot. The lob, just as it sounds, it will shoot up into the sky and curve back down to the ground. That's something that you're going to use if someone gets really close to the net and tries to continue to hit you with those cool angles that really drive you crazy. You just hit them with a lob and they'll have to run back. And a lot of times, if you can charge that lob, it will go up into the air, hit the ground, and then spin over to the left or to the right, depending on which direction you hit it. That lob shot, it keeps people in check, it keeps people away from the net, and keeps your game honest. Then you have the drop shot, which is also pretty self-explanatory. You just go ahead, hit it, and boom, it just drops immediately. You go ahead and hit it at an angle and it will drop even quicker, because if you're trying to hit it forward, it will have to go towards the player before the player can get to it. I always try to hit it toward the left or to the right just to get that angle, to get as far away from the player as possible, so it has the chance to do that soft little bounce and then just stay right where it's at. That will help people if they decide to camp towards the back and try to hit you with powerful ones over and over again. This usually will work against characters like Bowser, Donkey Kong, people who aren't necessarily getting all up on your net space. A really fun and satisfying way to really get someone up and at them is just to continue to hit them with a lob, then a drop, then a lob, then a drop, and just make them run back and forth until they can find their base settings, find where they're going to sit, and really be able to get it back to you. That's when I like to hit them with those powerful shots or the left shots. It's really fun. This is a great mechanic that you can use all of these different shots together. They kind of made this game a little bit worse, in my opinion, to get those lob and drop shots. It's really an easy fix, sure, but at first there aren't going to be a lot of people who understand how to use them, because in Tennis Aces, you could double tap A and then you would get a lob, and if you double tap B, you would get a drop. So you would just press the same button twice. In Mario Tennis Aces, there was a way that you could get a lob and a drop, and it was much easier than you could in Tennis Fever. In Tennis Fever, you have to press the A and then the B, or then the B and then the A to get your lob shot. And when you're in a heated match and you're really just trying to keep the ball going back and forth, you're in a heated rally, and all of a sudden you're supposed to use a lob shot, you know that's the best one to use, and you have to quickly press 2 buttons in succession while also getting your character in the right spot. It's just a mess. In my opinion, they really should have given it more clear instruction on how to remap these buttons. But of course, there is a way to do that, and it's so much easier to just put a lob shot on ZR and then a drop shot on ZL. It's so much easier just to have those 1 buttons, you press them, and boom, that's how you use it. And that's how I do it. Those face buttons are going to always be reserved specifically for my top spin, my back spin, and then my purple shot. Now, moving forward from Mario Tennis Aces, I honestly did not believe that there was a possibility of Camelot getting the gameplay to feel more refined and technical than it did in that game. And honestly, I was kind of right, but at the same time, I was wrong about what the implications of that would actually mean. In Mario Tennis Aces, you have a meter, and every single time you fill up that meter, you get a special shot. Every single character has a special shot. They're all a little bit different, but basically, you go up into the air and you shoot a huge shot right back at the other character. Your racket would have a 3 heart meter, and those special shots, if you were not able to return them with the right timing, would completely destroy the other person's racket. Most people would only have 2 rackets, I believe, and if you get rid of both those rackets, you just immediately win the match because they don't have a racket to play you with. Your meter could also be used not just for special attacks, but for slowing down time and being able to get from the one side of the court to another to hit the ball back. You could also use it to flick the stick in one direction and be able to do a special jump towards the ball, and it would be able to go forward, backwards, left, right, and be able to get that ball quicker than you would normally. But of course, it really did depend on the meter. Everything was based upon the meter. Every time you would charge up a shot, you would get more of your meter space. So basically, the person who would kind of sit back, charge up more shots, and have that meter full to be able to use it to its full capacity would most likely be able to beat the other person who is probably on their toes and not getting as much of their meter charged up. This, in my opinion, was a very technical and skillful way to actually make the tennis game more exciting than it would be otherwise. If it was just simple tennis, I would understand how people could find it to be extremely boring, but it was never just tennis. It was always a little bit more exciting. It had that Mario flair to it. But because of that, it honestly made the skill ceiling much higher. It made it to where people like me could sit on the couch for hours and hours when they had a surgery on their foot and wasn't able to walk around one summer, and so I was able to spend literally 50 hours in 1 month to master the game and play people over and over again to get into that top 1000. Moving into Mario Tennis Fever, I was excited to get back to this game and to play another one for the first time since 2018. But as I was watching the trailers, I knew it wasn't going to be the same. I knew it wasn't going to feel as technical as it had before. I really appreciated how Aces did that, and to see that meter gone, the heart of Tennis Aces, It honestly scared me, and I wasn't looking forward to playing Fever as much as I normally would. I love Mario Tennis games, don't get me wrong, I was so excited to play it regardless, but without that meter, I was worried that this game's soul would be completely different. And it was. But I think that was for the better. You see, if I want to play Mario Tennis Aces, I can go play Mario Tennis Aces. Camelot knew if they were going to make a Mario Tennis game that people actually gave a crap about, they were going to have to make a new game. Mario Tennis Fever is exclusively Mario Tennis Fever, and you get a fever for this game. The mechanic that Mario Tennis Fever surrounds is not your meter with a weird name Aces. Like, I don't even understand where Aces came from. It was just a sporty term, I guess, so they went with Aces. In Mario Tennis Fever, you have Fever rackets. There are a ton of these rackets. I mean, a ton of them. 30 Fever rackets, all with completely different attributes that will change the way the game is played, that will change the way every single match is played. And more than ever, in my opinion, all of these different characters, 38 of them, by the way. Tennis Aces did not launch with 38 characters. It launched with less than half of that. It launched with 16 characters. Now we have 38 here at launch. The DLC crimes of 2018 and all of Tennis Aces drip feeding us more characters for a year after is gone. These characters are here and they're here to stay. And if we get any more DLC, it won't be finishing the game. It won't be making the game feel like it was finally worth buying. It will be making us feel as consumers like we're getting more free stuff just because they loved making this game and just because they wanted to give back to the community. I doubt we get any more rackets or any more DLC for these characters, but if we do, that would be a really fun way to just put an injection into the community if it's starting to die down a little bit and get us all excited about playing Mario Tennis Fever again. But let's talk specifically about these rackets for a bit. These rackets will change a lot about everything you do. All of them have different attributes like I mentioned before, and some of them will affect you as the player. They affect how you move. Some of them will affect the ball itself and will be able to affect the course that it takes, whether it's going to curve or spin at you really fast or hit you really quickly, or it will affect the terrain around the player. The basic rackets that you can start off with are basically going to be elemental rackets, and once that ball hits the ground from your attack, you're going to be able to mess up that other opponent's side of the court. It's really easy to use Fever rackets as well because it's just on another one of those face buttons. I mentioned about Y, B, and A, but X is when you activate your Fever racket. And of course, there is a little meter up in the top left, similar to Mario Tennis Aces, but that meter is totally different and different for different purposes. There's a meter up in the top left, once again, a different meter from Aces, but still a meter nonetheless, and it gives you 2 Fever shots once they load up. The first one is easy to get. It doesn't take super long, maybe a minute or two. And then the second one will take a little bit longer to load up, but it still is being charged by your charge shots, how many you're able to hit back, how long the rally goes. You're going to get more charge ups based on that. But yeah, the Fever rackets that you start off with are going to be elemental ones. The fire one, for example, you will hit it back and forth, and whichever side the ball hits the court on first is the side that that elemental effect will take place on. If I hit the ball over to the other person and they hit it back in a spot I don't reach and it hits my court, the element that I tried to put on their side will be on mine. And every single character has an HP bar. I believe it's the exact same HP amount for every single character. If you hit any of those fire marks or slip on some ice or get stuck in some mud, that HP will drain down. And once you run out of HP, depending on whether you're playing singles or doubles, of course, but in singles, you'll be a lot slower. You won't be able to hit back as much. I don't think you're even allowed to charge your meter when you have no HP left. You're just a shell of yourself. And if you're playing doubles with someone online or a computer or someone locally, you will be taken completely out of the match, and it will come down to 1 versus 2 based on the other team. I was so worried that a lot of these elemental effects would just be a fun way to add in some more Mario stuff, and they weren't really trying to take this game as seriously or make it as technically sound as Tennis Aces. And to some extent, I don't think Aces is actually being superseded here in terms of technical ability, but this game still has it in spades, and I was so stupid to ever think that it wouldn't be. Using Fever rackets changes literally everything, and playing with them is so much fun. Super Smash Bros., for example, is a series I think it does so well in terms of giving you more options to play and how you're going to play with one another. Whether you pick Mario, Luigi, Bowser, Joker, or Pyra and Mithra, whether you're picking Byleth, or all of these other different characters, Snake, Sonic, all of them have different movesets and different abilities that if you pick them, it will change the complete and total mindset of the person playing against you. And in Smash Bros., you are able to do a bunch of different things to unlock those characters, mostly by playing through the different modes or through the single player mode, you can get those characters and get some different items. Tennis Fever does a phenomenal job at this as well, because you have all of these different characters available to you, but they're not all there from the start. You don't get all 38 characters and then all 30 Fever rackets right at the very beginning. They're all there just taunting you, and if you go over to each and every one of those dark spots, they will tell you what you need to do to unlock that specific character, which encourages you to play the game even more and to play all these different modes and to see what appeals to you the most. This is a genius way for them to get us interacted with one another and to just engaging with the game itself, because if I have all of these characters to my disposal, I'll just play whichever one I want and then boom, I'm done. But with all these different modes, all these different ways of playing, some of them require more technical skills, some of them require a power hitter, a speedster. I'm going to have to switch things up a little bit and actually interact with everything this game has to offer and its various fever rackets and see what those conditions do to help me succeed. Sometimes games just give you way too much right at the start, and that can be really cool, but this forces you to actually play the game the way it was meant to be played. And once the game is played the way it was meant to, you can play it however you want because you've unlocked everything, so you get to play it the way you want to. There is nothing more invigorating than a long rally with someone who is just as skilled as you, or maybe even a little better than you, and you just go back and forth and you steal a win you shouldn't have had, or you barely clinch out a win on the skin of your teeth and you never should have won that match. It's just a great rush. It's an exhilaration. But also, this game makes me mad. This game makes me rage in ways I have not experienced in a long time. I didn't know I was capable of getting this upset at a video game. It's been a while. And to be honest with you, like normally I would say that's a bad thing, but if a game makes you feel something, especially if you don't normally feel things while playing games, I think that gives you an even bigger reason to recommend it to someone and an even bigger reason to get into the game itself. Because that anger makes me think about the game. When I feel strong things about anything, it makes me think about it for a while. Think about a breakup that you've gone through, or a death of a family member, or that amazing time you spent at an amusement park. All of these positive and negative emotions, if you feel strongly, those are cemented into your brain. You think about that and you know exactly how you felt in that moment. You know exactly what it took to get out of that rut. Feeling things is such a big part of living. It's a part of the human experience, and Mario Tennis Fever allows you to feel in ways I have not experienced in a while. That's the core gameplay. It is so much fun to interact with. Let's talk a little bit more about the modes themselves. The adventure mode is the big single player campaign, and by big, I mean about 4 to 5 hours. There is a beautiful pre-rendered cutscene at the beginning of this where you're running around as Mario and Luigi, and the goal is to get this golden fruit to help save Daisy, who has a fever and she's stuck in bed, which is a really clever storyline. Wario and Waluigi was the one who told you about this fruit, and they are trying to get you to go for obviously conniving reasons. You get there, and then all of a sudden this ghost monster turns everyone into babies except for Donkey Kong, who was up at the top of a cliff and wasn't able to hit it, and then Toad as well, who was on the ship and he wasn't there helping, so he was just fine. Bring the babies back to a tennis academy because of course they did. The monster was sending these little projectiles at them and they didn't have any tennis rackets with them. But if they did, and if these babies could get trained up to play tennis and hit these things back at this huge monster, maybe we could beat it. So that's the storyline, I guess, and that's why we're going to the tennis academy as babies rather than going to a doctor or a time traveler. There is some really funny dialogue to be had here because it does feel reminiscent of some Mario RPG games. There's like a line where a Toad says something to the babies like, well, even as a baby, Mario's very impressive. And they're like, why did you bring him to the tennis? And it's like, oh, well, obviously I had to hit it back. And they're like, yeah, makes sense. It's just really funny. The adventure mode kind of starts out really slow with the babies being able to just build up their skills, and you have to do a lot of pretty tedious work to get back to where you were before. Then you start going on all these different adventures, playing these different quests. It is pretty interesting to be able to engage with the game, and if you aren't like me and didn't want to dive straight into the online sphere, this would probably be the other best way to get your foot wet with this game, because it obviously is going to teach you every single thing about the game's moveset and how to use these different things properly. The cutscenes are really cool. They're as pretty as Mario has ever looked. I really hope that we get some even better ones in the next 3D or 2D game. There are some really cool set pieces here and some boss fights that aren't in any other part of this game, so if you really want to fully experience Tennis Fever and get all those achievements unlocked and some characters, then you're gonna have to play through this mode. If you're a single player person that is just watching this video trying to figure out if adventure mode is actually worth buying this game for 70 bucks, I would say no. 70 bucks for the 4-hour, 5-hour adventure mode isn't it. If you're buying this game as a single player like I did, you're going to find much more of your fun by playing online, by entertaining all of the achievements, by going through all the different modes, and the adventure mode is definitely a part of that. Like, there is fun to be had with it. It is still a great way to experience this game, but it's not something that I would totally recommend you towards. Then of course there's the tournament mode. There's only 6 cups here, 3 for the singles and 3 for the doubles. You can unlock 6 different characters just by going through all of these, and it's a fun way to play against CPUs and just challenge yourself. Every single cup will get more increasingly difficult, and so you're able to test your skills, and by the end of it, to be honest with you, like the single player I had down pretty pat, but I had yet to play doubles yet when I went through the tournament mode, and so playing with another CPU against other CPUs, when I got to that final championship match, like I was really going back and forth with some of these players. Now of course they barely scored on me, but I was still having a long, hard fought match. Then there is the trial tower mode, where there are 3 different towers that you'll go up, I believe like 10 different levels. It will give you different criteria on how to pass the specific level, and you get 3 hearts. So if you lose your hearts before you get to the top, you're gonna have to start over. I didn't die on any of these except for one in the first tower, and I was so confused what was going on. It was a Waluigi pinball stadium, and for whatever reason, I just couldn't figure it out. The doubles wasn't working for me. It was weird. Then my second time around, it worked fine, so I don't know if it was me or if there was some weird glitch, but either way, it was fine and it worked out well. These trial towers are pretty fun to experience, and once you finish all 3 towers, I thought that would have been it. That's not it at all. There are 100 different levels that you can do with all 3-star ratings, and if you do everything with the criteria it meets, you get 3 stars for every level. 100 levels with all of their own different criteria. This is absurd. This is something in the adventure mode could never have fulfilled. 100 is just so many, and I really don't have a ton else to say about this because it is similar to the trial towers. Just giving you a criteria and meeting that criteria is really interesting because it makes you think outside of the box. There's one where it's like, okay, they're going to shoot balls at you and you're not going to be able to let the other player return it. So you have to think about the angle of where you're standing, think about what shot to use, how to get the ball around the CPU. And if they hit it back 3 times out of 15, you're done. That's it. The level is over and you lost a heart. You have to retry. Again, it's just a genius way to interact with this game because it makes you think about all the ways to use these different mechanics. It's so smart. I just really appreciate good level design, really appreciate good game design, and Tennis Fever has it in spades. This is something that I think Tennis Aces was lacking in quite a bit, and I'm so glad to see it here actually be taken seriously. And single players, honestly, trials and trial towers, this is where you're going to spend a ton of time if you're not really interested in playing online. Then there's free play, where you can pretty much just play however you want to. Singles, doubles, this is mostly going to be for local play, different rackets, different tennis courses. You're going to be able to pick pretty much everything you could desire here. No Fever rackets, with Fever rackets, however you want to play, you can play here in free play. Then we have some really interesting ones in this next mode called Mix It Up, and it pretty much takes you out of the core gameplay of tennis, uses tennis as the catalyst to do other achievements, to do other objectives, to meet those criteria. You play with unique rules like in a ring shot mode, where you're basically just trying to hit the ball back and forth between as many rings as possible. Each one of those rings will give you a certain amount of points, and reaching that threshold for points will allow you to pass that level. There's a forest court one where there's a bunch of pipes in the middle and there are piranhas that pop out, and they will take the ball and shoot it back, and some of them will pop up in the terrain itself and you kind of have to avoid them. It's pretty interesting. There's a Wonder Flower level from Mario Wonder where you're not actually keeping score with points, you're keeping score with flowers. I played on this one a couple times and it did the same Wonder effect the same 2 times, so I don't know if it's going to be different Wonder effects every time or there are chances of something being completely and totally wacky, but obviously it's going to be a lot more spruced up than other regular courts. Racket Factory, where you're changing rackets all the time, like every single time they shoot a new racket at you and you have to be ready for what the opponent might get, or be ready for your own self to activate your own new racket, or use one before it goes away. Then there's the pinball court, kind of reminiscent of Waluigi's Pinball from the DS. The level has stuff that will pop up in the middle of it and the ball will hit that, and then you won't be able to return it the way you want to or hit it right where you want to, and it kind of helps the opponent more than anything because it just makes for really long rallies. You can change where the camera is going to sit. You can change what type of ball you want to use, the one that's going to go slower, one that's faster, the normal one. There's so much here that you can do to just kind of make it more of a unique experience, make it more than just tennis. Then there's also score challenges in this Mix It Up mode, which isn't as interesting to me because it's a lot about those same ring puzzles where you're just basically hitting the ball through the ring and getting as many points as you can. It feels kind of mindless to me. It's always a little bit frustrating because even though I feel like I'm pretty skillful and I know exactly how to put the ball where I want it, I can never quite get it through the rings. And sometimes I wonder if that's good design, that it's kind of difficult and maybe I'm doing something wrong, or if it's just the game not cooperating the way it should. Either way, this isn't the mode you're going to be spending a ton of time in. It's really going to be more of those special matches if you do the Mix It Up. Then there's the swing mode, which is pretty self-explanatory. You can use the Joy-Con 2 to swing it like a actual motion controller. There are some unique things you can do in this mode that is completely different than every other, so yet again, it's just something, if you're tired of playing one mode, you can go to this and just try it out, see if you like it. If not, then you're good. It's just another thing that you can use. Then you you can play online with no rankings whatsoever, just play to play. You can play with rankings, which of course, why wouldn't you want to get better and just get on higher on those leaderboards? There's local play, and then there's game share to be able to play with people on the Switch 2 and then the Switch 1. All just great options to play online. The ranked mode itself feels really good. Most of the time there's no lag, but there definitely is lag sometimes. This is not a perfect experience. It's better than Ace's, I think. It's better than a lot of the Switch could provide, but there is still lag that just makes me wonder, how are we just not past this? Playing other Switch 2 games and other Nintendo games as of the past 3 years specifically, I think they figured out a lot about how to make online games work, and so maybe it's just my Wi-Fi that's screwing things up. There is always a possibility that that's the case. And of course, if the person you're playing has terrible Wi-Fi, that's going to ruin it as well. But still, it's just something that's frustrating to me. I was playing a match the other day where I really felt like I was better than the other player, but the lag just kept messing me up specifically every time. Felt like every time I would go to hit, there would be lag, and every time they went to hit, there was no lag, which of course will put you at a huge disadvantage regardless. So overall, I wouldn't say this is really a fault with the game. If you have bad internet, then maybe you're not going to have a lot of fun with this online mode, but if you have decent to good ones, this is going to be great for you. Then you have these 5 medals that are in this really cool red portion of the menu here. It makes me want to fill them out just because. You can clear the adventure mode to get a medal, win every single tournament, earn every star in the all trials mode and trial tower, so all 100, so that's 300 stars. That's ridiculous. Clear all score challenge games on advanced difficulty, and then play 100 total matches in different modes. Currently, there are 112 of them. Oh wait, no, 112 is the amount of matches that I have played, so that's how many I've already gotten into, not 112 different modes. I don't know why I was thinking that. Again, just a really cool way to make you get engaged with the game, to make you play all these different modes. Of course, every time I go to the main menu screen, the screen I'm going to be seeing every time I play this game, of course I want to see all those medals filled out so I can prove to myself and to the world that I'm a better FIFA player than you. Then we have the achievements section, and this section is so much fun to look through. It shows you the characters, the rackets, the courses, every single thing that there is to unlock in this game. It shows you right here, and it doesn't hide anything from you. It shows you exactly how to unlock everything, and I really appreciate that. It's just the push I need to engage with other parts of the game without making it tedious and annoying. Some games, you just have to look it up how to unlock characters or rackets, and it's like, why am I having to do this? Just give me what I want to do so I can play the way I want to play. But after you interact with the game itself naturally, most of the time you wouldn't even have to look at the achievements. The only reason you would is if you want a very specific character and you've yet to unlock it from a specific mode. Like, I could see some people being confused about how to unlock a character because they didn't want to do the tournament mode against the CPUs. That's honestly how you get some of the coolest characters, like the baby Wario and Waluigi. That comes from those modes. It shows you how to unlock alternate skins for characters, which there aren't too many of them. There's Koopa Troopa, there's Paracoopa, there's the one random Luma one from the movie, the Mario movie. That's really cool. Then of course Yoshi and Shy Guy. There are color variations for those guys, but that's it so far. Mario Tennis Aces, they added a little bit of DLC to where you could change the style of your actual character itself, or if you wanted to put him rather in his tennis outfit, just in his regular Mario outfit, you could do that then. I hope they add something like that here to actually put in the achievement section to be able to look through more variations. It would just be a cool thing if they decide to come back and update the game. They probably won't. I don't think they will. I'd be very surprised if they did. It'd be a fun surprise, but I don't think it's happening, so if it does, cool, that'd be awesome. The one thing it does not show you how to unlock is the CPU difficulty, and that is so weird to me because I don't care too much, I guess, but if I really wanted to 100% this game, which I kind of do, then I'm going to want to figure out how to do that. So maybe by playing through the adventure mode and finishing that will help. I don't know. There's something weird there. Now, in this game, with all of these different modes, there is a Wonder Flower that will sit in the side of the screen and commentate the game. This is not horrible, but it's not great. I found the flower to be fine, bearable, annoying to sometimes, annoying to other times. Not really a huge deal, but still, there is an option to turn him off. This is where you're going to want to go. You can change if you want it by MPH or kilometers, vibration on and off. Commentator, you can turn him off. You can also change the speed. You can change the music. Settings is also where you can button map a lob and a drop shot and be able to use it so much more efficiently with those triggers on the back. I was really disappointed to see that you can't actually put those lob buttons on the Pro buttons on the Pro controller, the back SR and SL buttons. That feels like a really natural place to put it, and you can't even button map it because there's not one specific button that is used for a lob. You have to do like a button combination or do this in the actual game itself. It's fine, there's still options, but it's just a little bit frustrating that I can't do it with my, $100 controller. There's also a way here that you can unlock different types of balls with amiibo. So if you have a Toad amiibo, you can get a Toad one, a Wario one, you get a Wario one. It's pretty cool. Then there's lastly a how to play mode, and that's the last thing you've got here. It'll show you the basics, show you everything to do. Most people aren't going to need to do that. It's really, really tedious and really slow. Sure, you might want to use this for some kids or something, but anyone else, just get in the actual game, you'll figure it out. So finally, we've made it to the end. Mario Tennis Fever. Is it worth it for you? Well, let's talk about the types of person this game might be worth it for. Obviously, if you're a big Mario Tennis fan such as myself, yeah, get this game. It is so much fun. A great addition to the series. The best one that we've had probably since the Wii days. Honestly, maybe with the GameCube days, Power Tennis. That game was really fun. Aces was great. I know it wasn't super critically acclaimed. Fever is definitely the best one yet. I think it has to be. There's so much content here too, because if we're asking the question, is it worth it? Then I would say that it is honestly reaching that $70 criteria. $70 is the new $60. It is full price. It is a full experience, and I don't feel gypped whatsoever. There weren't 16 characters like there were in Aces. There are 38 and 30 different Fever rackets. Just the idea that if you want to experience the game in its entirety, to experience every single character with its different combinations of rackets, that's over 1,140 matches of tennis you would have to play, all with different characters and different rackets, if you wanted to experience every single thing this game has to offer in terms of its gameplay mechanics and differences between characters and rackets. 1,000! It's crazy. It's absurd. It's totally different than any game we've played before. It's awesome. But then again, it is just tennis, and the adventure mode is a little bit lackluster for people who were really hoping the adventure mode would provide a lot. But there is so much single player substance outside of just the adventure mode. Sure, that'll give you 4 or 5 hours, but then all these other modes will probably give you 5 to 10 hours, especially those trials. 100 trials with over 300 stars, like that is a lot to achieve. Then the ranking system itself, if you're not the type of person who cares about that, this game probably won't be worth it to you. But if you're competitive, even at all, if you want to see that number raised higher and higher, if you want to get to those different ranks from B to A to S, this is for you. You're just going to be able to grind over and over again and play online until you get where you want to go. This is a rare game that I think I can recommend to both casual and core gamer, because the casual fan will have so much fun with their brother and sister, or just some people that they want to play with their friends. It doesn't take a lot of skill to enter this game, but it can take a lot of skill to master. If you really want to get into this, if you want to spend $70 and this be the game you play for a month or two straight, you can do that and do it happily. Do it with all kinds of content and really not experience everything. 1,000 plus matches to experience every variation of characters and rackets, that's crazy. This game provides so much more content than I could have ever expected. I mean, I honestly did not think it was going to be anywhere near this great or full. Mario spin-off in its best form, I think, is going to be accessible to every type of player, while also getting deep enough to where core gamers can get into it and just have so much fun mastering the mechanics. Mario Tennis Fever does it so well. I think they're doing a really good job in this generation of giving us more niche titles that aren't going to appeal to everyone, but titles that are going to provide a lot of fun for whoever decides they want to get it. If you're a big shooter guy and sports guy, this game might not appeal to you in terms of like FIFA gamers, Madden gamers, but if you really do like the idea of getting to an experience that maybe you're not as comfortable with and actually finding so much content to unsheath here, if you actually really give it a chance, I think Tennis Fever is for you. I think this is the perfect game to come into and say, you know what, early days of a new console, let me take a jump. Oftentimes games like this, I would just say it's only for a very specific audience, but I think I would recommend this to pretty much every person that watches this. If you know for a fact that this isn't something that you don't want to play, then maybe give it a shot. If it's something that interests you even a little bit, I think this is a fun experience. So that's my opinion on Mario Tennis Fever. That's my breakdown of the game, my entire review. Thank you for sticking it out to the very end. Make sure you like and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. Click that notification bell to know exactly when my videos release. Consider joining my membership program, a few bucks a month, just to support me as a content creator and get a couple cool perks for yourself. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you click on the left side of your screen to see my breakdown of 3D Marios and 2D Marios and how 3D Mario isn't actually a system seller. Click on the right side of your screen to see all of my reviews and game-specific discussions. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. Make sure you have yourself a phenomenal Tennis Fever loving day. This has been Ray's Nintendo Talk. I have been Ray, and I will see you all in the next video.